well, I got some bathroom caulking to do, so I'm gonna talk while I get my stuff together here. My caulk gun here. So, as I was asking, who are you when you look at yourself? And you're not the same guy you were when you were 10 years old or 20 years old or, about every 3 years you lose every cell in your body gets replaced. Every atom that you start out with, you're shedding as you walk along. As I breathe out, the waste products in my blood going back to my lungs, coming out my mouth, are spreading atoms all over the place. And those atoms have parts of my heart, my lungs, my liver, my intestines, all over the place. Your skin's always flaking off as you go through life. It just sheds off. You're replaced all the time. So how can you be this body when it's constantly being replaced? And your brain, how can you be your mind? The things you think about now aren't the things you thought about when you were a child. Your thoughts, the person you are psychologically changes with your age. It changes with your circumstances. You're not the same person at work as you are at home. You're not the same person you are with your wife as you are with your children. So, how can you be your body or your mind? Think about that. That ought to do it. So, if you're not your mind or your body, then what the hell are you? Gotta get this done here. I'd say that if you're not your mind and you're not your body, you must be the awareness.
So yes, it'll move slow. If at all, it'll move slowly. So as Bernardo pointed out, there's this crisis brewing at the very foundation of physics, at quantum mechanics. There are these very strange but now universally accepted observation that in fact, that it's not true that there's a system and you measure it and it was in a well-defined state before. Turns out that looking at things will profoundly influence what there is. So there is no observer-independent observation. That's really very weird and it's very difficult to reconcile. But it seems to be the case for tiny, tiny objects like electrons and photons. And we still haven't dealt really with the consequences of that. And also the standard belief that's certainly very widely held in Anglo-Saxon philosophy departments. So in the US, UK, Australia, most places, different here in Europe, and in the tech industry is functionalism, machine functionalism, that anything, including consciousness, can be simulated. Once you simulate it accurately, then that's all there is. There isn't anything above and beyond simulation. So of course, ChatGPT will be conscious. Maybe not now, but maybe next year or in 5 years from now. And now there is a crisis brewing that this has so far not explained consciousness. Yes, we have machines that might do the trick, but philosophers themselves are in disagreement now. And so, yes, I think And if you look over the history, certainly in the West over the last 2,400 years, there's a waxing and waning where some metaphysical beliefs were more popular and then less popular. Idealism used to be very popular in the 17th and 18th century in let's say in Western Europe. Right now, it's not. So it may, by pioneers driven by pioneers like Bernardo, in 20 years it may well become quite popular again here on the world stage. But it's a secular post.
We see. Okay, so the next thing I got going on is trying to get us some ribs cooked for lunch here. See what this is looking like. Yeah. Can't see anything with it all wrapped up. I guess I'll show you when I get it a little further along here, get some smoke on it. So I've got these going they're going for 2 hours now. I've had it on, started about 4 hours, and then cooking them at 224 degrees, 226 degrees for 2 hours and 24 more minutes. How's that? All right. Well, I'm just trying to get a few things done here while I'm working. I'm thinking, and just wanted to share this stuff with you. So, how can it be that we can't be our body? Because our body is constantly being replaced. If you were to be able to watch and see the atoms on your body, they'd be just shedding off of you everywhere. Everywhere you walked, you'd look like Linus on Charlie Brown. Just a cloud of dust. All of this atoms floating off of you, shooting out of your breath, and everything else. And your mind is flexible. We'll say that. You're constantly being influenced by the things you watch on TV or the internet or the people you talk to. And that's all being like coded on top of a program that was put in your head from your parents and your friends of childhood, and that's all changing all the time. So that really can't be you. So what are you? Who are you? That's the question, isn't it? Well, let me tell you it like this: that if you meditate, I don't know if any of you guys even understand what that means. Some of you do, of course, but a lot of people think that just means that you blank out everything in your mind and don't think of anything. Well, that's one thing, one way you could do it. There's a lot of ways, but when I think about meditation, I think about an altered state of consciousness where you have put yourself in this altered state and you no longer associate with your body. You can't feel your body. You know it's there, but it's just pure ecstasy. And your mind, when I first started doing this stuff, my mind was always chattering at me and stuff. And as things progressed over the years, that doesn't happen very often anymore. I mean, I still get some things enter my mind while I'm in those states, but mostly it's things that I'm after. It's things that I've set an intention for, and I'm curious about. And when you sit still long enough, you get relaxed, and you think, okay, what is my next thought going to be? Just ask yourself that. What am I going to think next? And sit back and watch. Now that sounds weird right there. Who are you? You're going to watch your thought? Well, you can. And you can sit there and just wait for it. And something will pop into your mind, and you'll be up there chattering away at yourself. And you go, oh, that's my thought. I'm thinking that's the thought that I was waiting for. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's start over. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get a brand new one. What is that thought going to be? Just sit there and wait for it. Now, what are you doing? You're just getting quiet, and you're asking yourself, what's my next thought going to be? Watch. Here it comes. Next thing you know, your mind's going to be chattering away. It could have been something. It's probably going to be something that's already happened. Something from your history. Probably something you don't like that happened. Somebody did you wrong. The politics are really bad. Something. But you catch yourself. You go, oh, that's my thought. That's my thought. That's what I was waiting for. Oh, let's do it again. You keep doing that. That space gets bigger and bigger between the time you say, oh, that's the one I was waiting for. What's next? And not only that, you start to be able to recognize the thought when it first occurs. Like your mind will get like 2 words, instead of a bunch of chatter, you get like 2 words. You go, oh, that's the thought. Oh, that's it. I've already got it. What's the next one going to be? If you do it like that, pretty soon that gap gets longer and longer, and you'll be sitting there in complete silence with no thought. Try it. Now, what's the point in all that anyway? When you get to a point where there's no chatter in your mind, and you have already set an intention at the beginning, you're trying to ask yourself, who am I? For instance, because that's what I'm talking about right now. You set out an intention in the beginning. You go, okay, this is what I'm curious about. And then you get in that quiet state. And you get I get this very euphoric feeling. And even though I'm in chronic pain, I don't feel my body. And maybe that's why I'm so euphoric, because that pain's gone. Don't feel it anymore. And when you're in that state and you set an intention, this is going to sound really weird, but there is information to be had. Whether it's coming from your brain, your subconscious, I don't think so, but whether it is or it's out there in the universe, which I think it is, I think the information is out there, and if you get quiet enough, you'll hear it. So there's information to be had in those states. And, when people talk about a genius, I don't think many people realize what they're saying when they say that guy's a genius. Because, I think it's Arabic or something like that. They have this thing with the jinn, where we get the genie thing, and the genius, what it literally means is a genie on your shoulder. And that's what is happening when you get in those states. You encounter the genies, which, a lot of people, they'll get in those states and they'll get this information. Oh, such and such going to happen. Oh, how terrible. It's going to happen next week at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and next week at 4 o'clock it doesn't happen. And because that Genie is a trickster. You can get really good information, but it can be a trick too. It can be, it is crazy. Literally, you're probably going, yeah, that guy's crazy, no doubt. And, you know, what can I say? You experience those things, and I mean, they're real, they happen. But, you know, I see that all the time with this trickster thing going on. Okay. And that, that trickster part of it is, it gets people in these crazy situations where they believe this stuff is going to happen or whatever, and it was just a trick. And then, you know, 10, 15 more things come up, and they'll all be right. And you go, oh, what happened? Oh, I must have interpreted it wrong or something. And then the next thing you get this, you go, oh, okay, well, I'm going to make this prediction. And the trickster returns. It doesn't want you to be able to share this stuff. This information is private. It's for you. When you try to prove it to someone, that's when the trickster arises. That's why a lot of times UFOs and stuff are only seen by the person observing it. You know, they see something, and when they try to document it, it's gone. It's not there. Or they see something, they take a picture of it, and the picture is not what they saw. Something completely different. That happens a lot. And then you've got these things like the hitchhiker deal, this hitchhiker effect. You hear a lot from that Skinwalker Ranch thing, where people have these experiences, and then it follows them around, follows them home, and it's like it's an infectious thing, and it infects people around them, and they start having these weird things happen to them. And that's kind of like a diabolical type trickster thing there. But anyway, that's a lot to think about. So let's come back and talk about it again. And we're going to get further in details and try to sort this whole thing out. What in the hell is actually happening? All right. Thanks for watching.